Okay, back to answer some questions. This is Pops. Pops is kind of a nickname, but actually an acronym that turned into a nickname when I was younger. I was actually having some lawyers who were yelling at me, public defender, maybe state's attorney. I was outside. I got chased out of the courtroom, and I was outside the court. And I used to be a preacher, but that didn't work out so well. But that I did this other thing, and that's what I teach you about the law. And I was teaching people the basic obligations of public service and their right to effective assistance of counsel, and you know, what it details. And if you see my other videos, you see I gave you some pretty easy answers. I don't complicate things. I just go by the law. So this is my picture that I got up front. It says legal reform, legal resources for making a change in the legal system. So somebody puts yes, how? How? Okay, well, that's why I keep posting. You can't just go, but that's just like the cover of my book or your book. I'm doing my best to get you to be the hero in your own story. Okay. So look at here. I telling somebody I had to fix some typos. I tell you the history of democracy. I talk about the public trust doctrine. That's a mandate in any democracy. So anybody that takes the oath, see, this is part of the oath. They got to do this stuff. Public service. This is a whole lot of stuff public servants are legally obligated to do and don't do. And, people are complaining about crooked lawyers, judges, politicians, So I talk about, their legal obligations, ethics, violating the ethics, violating code of ethics is mandatory. Fines, removal from public service, and incarceration. Same thing goes with the oath. A lot of laws that people are breaking. These are public servants, and they just openly and willingly do it. You think you can't do anything about it, but I'm showing you that you can by using the law. I'm teaching you to fight fire with fire. Okay, so you're using their job descriptions against them. Okay. I put here, this is a video, let's talk about your quality of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Knowledge is power. Okay, so let's go there real quick. Okay, I just want to interrupt your day for a little bit. Somebody that's been taking... it's a history, but it's not just the history of democracy, it's the law. In any democracy, anywhere in the free world, if it is a democracy, everybody, the law is to abide by the public trust doctrine. Okay, and the public trust doctrine tells you, about the mandates, and all these public servants are supposed to make sure you got clean water, clean air, no pollution, nobody pollutes your land, and the mineral rights in your country that belongs to you, and how the healthcare system is a part of the public trust, and it really. So I'm showing you, and usurping the Constitution, the constitutional crisis, I even posted this. Somebody
of all the ideas that became the United States, there's a line here that's at the heart of all the others. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. People don't talk that way anymore.
You? Huh. No idea what you said.
It means if there's something wrong, those who have the ability to take action have the responsibility to take action. Of all the ideas that became
Okay, so that's the law. Okay, you know that, right? Okay, so I'm just showing yourself. Okay, can you say RICO? Examples of RICO applications, and it's also been used to prosecute street gangs, corruption. Corruption cases. Oh yeah, RICO has been used to prosecute corrupt political officials and police departments. The conspiracy against rights under the color of law, breaking the code of silence. So that's what I'm talking you through here. This person here gave me a multitude of questions, a whole bunch of questions about jurisdiction, a few precedents, and just a whole bunch of different courts, different types of courts: family, civil court, criminal court, federal court, state court. But I gave them a very simple answer that you can say anywhere in any court, and it'll quash the case. But I'm all you seriously. You got to really. On TikTok, they're kind of liking it pretty much.
As I said before, I like to answer questions, and some people don't believe the answer as simple as I give until I give it. Oh,
Let's go here.
send them a copy so that way you can forward one to the state's attorney. You can do that yourself. And I explained to them that you can sue because and when you sue, you can ask for a declaratory judge, or not a what's it called? Summary judgment, because there's no defense. There's no defense for when you cite somebody for ineffective assistance of counsel. You're saying they willingly and knowingly violated the rules of professional conduct to put you in the position that you're in, and they got the aid and assist from the court, the opposing party, and the judge. So that's easily a conspiracy against rights under the color of law.
Okay, so well, I didn't play the whole answer for you, but okay, so that's what legal reform is. Teaching you a lot of things you need to know, but you'll never know unless you went through law school and earned your degree to practice law. And see, all this stuff I'm telling you, they're actually supposed to be telling you if you read the rules and the codes. I'm going to get into that, going through the rules and the codes and how nobody does none of that and it's easy. And how you can use it in any and every court of law. Okay, the basic obligations of public service, it's the law. I go over that with you. Okay, so if you want big money out of corporations, or big corporate money out of politics and, shadow lobbying, there's a lot of things in the basic obligations of public service. There's a lot of laws in there that everybody's breaking in public service. You just don't know it because ain't nobody telling you about it. And in that video, I even tell you where you file complaints. Because I'm telling you, when it comes to the law, nobody's going to do nothing if you don't know it. Very simple laws. I put here Wall Street as one. Are you happy? Okay, I explained to you what we are facing now politically. It's called a corporacy. Okay, we are under corporate rule. We always have been. But they just went extreme. Now it's a complete hostile takeover of the public trust. Politicians, legal system, everybody in uniform, behind a badge, everybody takes the oath as part of the public trust. They're all public servants. and they're supposed to do what's in the public interest. That's in our best interest and maintain the public trust. They are trustees, and so the water, the air, the land, even just the airwaves, that belongs to us. The rain, the water, that belongs to us. The mineral rights, that belongs to us. The rights to the oil, the copper, the gold, all that belongs to us. But see, they've been selling it off for so damn long, and as a country, as a people, we've been so used to it. But that's only because we were uneducated, undereducated, and the ones that tried hard to become educated, that's when they decided, hey, no, we're going to make it hard by putting them into debt for the rest of their lives. Make it unaffordable, unobtainable. But see, this is stuff I read. Nobody taught me in school. I didn't go to school. I just learned to read before I started school. And my lust for literature grew, and say I love to read. And growing up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you learn that, the only way you're going to keep yourself out of jail is either to earn the money to have a lawyer on retainer or to become one. And, I am Latino. I'm the son of a Mexican immigrant on one side and the grandson of a World War II vet on the other. But still, the only thing that mattered was my skin tone, my melatonin level. My color was their curse. Or as Tupac used to say, my skin is my sin. But that's all it was. It didn't matter how many generations my people were here before and after the border moved. All that mattered was the color of my skin. Actually, and when we moved from one neighborhood to another, when we were moving in, the neighborhood gathered to protest us moving in. Call us the N-word. Get out, you effing. Go back to Mexico. Back then, the list was just black and white. It still maintains the same no matter how many different ethnicities you put there. Asian, Korean, Japanese, religion, Muslim, whatever. It doesn't matter. The list remains the same. We all go under the B list. There's the W list, the white list, and then there's the B list, the black list. When I was growing up, applications, black or white. Well, that's when I was a little kid, but we went to get our inoculations for school, and they put on there was either black or white. Last time my mother talked about it, my sisters, they laughed and they laughed and they laughed, and they put us all white. And then they get to my brother. He spent a lot of time outside. It was summertime, so he was pretty dark, so they put black. 5 of us white and the 6th one black. But the list remains the same. It doesn't matter what you identify yourself as. If you don't identify yourself as white, let's just leave it at that. Deprivation of rights under the law, penalties for said violations. Okay, there are, I show you what you're going through. Every time you go in court, they're depriving of your rights, and that starts with effective assistance of counsel. If you don't have effective assistance of counsel, you didn't get a fair trial. If you didn't get a fair trial, you didn't get due process. Okay, so that's what I'm showing you, and it's pretty easy to prove with the law if you go through it with me. But you have to go through all this living under the color of law, which I explained to you. And actually, I don't even explain it to you. I just read it to you, word for word, to the letter. Anything other would be in violation of the law, the color of the law. The color of the law requires me, in any interpretation of any law, anything written, to recite it word for word to the letter. The spirit of the law requires a letter of the law, so that way we all see, say, and hear the same thing. without a doubt, a contradiction. Texas, give me 5 minutes. There's some things going down in Texas. Got some familia down there. Ethics and politics in the media and where to report it. And that's the problem. People, why aren't, if you really want to do something, file for ethics violations against your politicians with the media. I talk about it in here and tell you where, stuff like that, in the public interest, legal obligations of, okay. So, everybody that takes the oath is legally obligated to do what's in the public interest. I discussed that with you and where to file. And remember, you doing this also, you can file a whistleblower complaint, and if you do, I don't ask for money and I don't accept donations, but if you do, don't forget your boy from Illinois, Pops. Remember, it's an acronym for Protecting Our Peoples. I don't care where you come from, how many generations you've been here, what you identify, he, she, Mr., Miss, Ms. Remember when the world had a heart attack when women started using the term Ms.? Well, he, she, we, them, they, binary, I don't care. All I know is if you're a citizen of the United States, you're one of my people, we the people. That's all that matters to me. And your constitutional rights, the Bill of Rights, which I quite often call your birthrights as a United States citizen. And I'm teaching you how to push for it using the law. And because I'm telling you, even a quick and speedy trial, you won't get that unless you demand it. And even when you demand it, they'll just ignore it. But you can get past that and push them for you to use the rules of professional conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct. CPS, Child Protection Service, let's talk about that. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to help, because there's nobody abides by the law in a court of law, and I'm showing what law is used to seize the day. Okay.
Yes, I'm Bandy Lee. I'm from New York City. I will be speaking as an expert.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.